Hello, welcome to Chart Talk, Scheduling Module 2. We ended the last module discussing the difference between deleting an appointment and changing the appointment status. We'll start Module 2 discussing scenarios where Chart Talk would prevent you from deleting an appointment. Then, we'll get into the patient navigation menu and set up the preferred appointment times for a patient and where you can view upcoming and past appointments for a patient. Finally, we'll conclude by looking at two reports that deal specifically with scheduling, appointments, and patient visits. Deleting an appointment is straightforward and intuitive. From the clinic schedule, you can click the X in the upper right of the appointment, or double-click on the appointment to open the scheduling tool and click the delete button there. However, if there are any records associated with that appointment, you will get this error. To get rid of this error, you will need to delete the SOAP note associated with the appointment. That's pretty common throughout Chart Talk. If a record has children, in this case, the appointment was used to create a SOAP note, the parent record cannot be deleted. In the database world, that is called an orphan. We won't allow you to accidentally create orphaned records. You must delete the child record before you are allowed to delete the appointment. And just to reiterate, deleting an appointment removes the ability to track that appointment. In almost every case, it would behoove you to change the status of an appointment rather than deleting it. If an appointment was created by accident, that would be a case to delete the appointment rather than changing the status. Let's talk about changing the appointment status, and then let's get a good look at it in action. To change an appointment status, click the status column on the clinic dashboard and select the appropriate status from the drop-down menu. When changing a status from check-in to in-clinic, an alert will pop up if there's a copay for the patient set up, or if there are any assigned documents for the patient to complete. When the appointment status is changed to complete, the system compiles the visit information and sends the claim to the charges screen for review. Once a visit is marked complete, payments can be applied to any codes that are patient responsibility. Any copay that you took will be applied to the top procedure or service code from the visit record. Let's take a look at what this looks like to mark a visit complete and create a charge. We start on the visit screen. We can add diagnosis code or select a visit type that has active diagnosis associated with it. Enter the procedure code, clicking Add CPT, or right-click and get previous procedures. Now we're going to hit Save and Complete, which for this note saves it and changes the status of the appointment to complete, creating a charge. Let's go see what this looks like on the clinic dashboard. The background is white, showing that the documentation has been completed, and the status is complete, so we know that the charge exists. On the charges screen, we can look at the claim created by this visit, review it, and process it for billing, or click Delete and go and update the visit record. Alright, I hope you found that informative. Let's take a second to talk about the difference between marking an appointment as rescheduled and creating a new appointment, or just editing the appointment time or dragging it around on the schedule to reschedule it. Similar to the difference between deleting an appointment and marking it canceled, Marking an appointment rescheduled lets you track how many times a patient reschedules appointments, whereas editing the appointment details will not convey that information when you are looking at the data later on. There is no right or wrong answer with how this is done. You need to understand the difference and then make the decision as a team with how you want to reschedule or cancel appointments. Now, we're going to leave the clinic dashboard and go to the patient navigation menu. To get to a patient navigation menu, you need to click the patient name from a link or search the patient out under the patient search screen. Preferred scheduling times are when the patient prefers to have an appointment on a specific day. For our automation, we only use one range for the day of the week. If a patient gives you two different time periods for a certain day, find out which is better. When you schedule recurring appointments, ChartTalk will attempt to find open times in these periods. Otherwise, ChartTalk will schedule for open time slots based on clinic hours and provider availability only. To navigate to the preferred appointment times, select Information and then Scheduling info from the Patient Navigation menu. Viewing the patient appointment list shows you a history of appointments scheduled for the selected patient and their status. It is here that you can see how many canceled, rescheduled, and complete visits there are for a patient. To navigate to the patient appointment list, select Information and Appointment History from the Patient Navigation menu. There are two reports that deal specifically with scheduling, and we will review those now. For a more in-depth look at all of ChartTalk reporting, please see our reporting training modules later in this series. The patient visit reports takes a date range and provider name for the filter values. This report returns a list of patient names, appointment times and durations, appointment type, and the scheduled provider. This report is mainly used for clinics that want to print out a list of appointments at the beginning of their day. At multi-provider facilities, each provider could print a list of their upcoming schedule for the day. The appointments report takes a date range in and appointment status as filter values. This report returns a list of patients, provider, appointment status, and appointment date and time. Many times this report will be used as a checklist for users that are performing a task or reviewing patient information. Now we come to the end of Scheduling Module 2. To review what we went over today, you cannot delete an appointment that has associated or child records. You need to delete the child records first before you will be able to delete the appointment. When you mark a visit complete, that creates the patient charges and sends a claim for review to the charges screen. Setting patient preferred appointment times helps staff and ChartTalk find appointments in the patient preferred windows. To view a patient appointment history, go to the patient navigation menu and select Appointment History under the Information menu item. Reports that have to deal with scheduling can be found under Clinic Reports. That's the end of Scheduling Module 2. Thank you for your time today.